Happy Monday and welcome back. I had some notes for an idea for today and I started a video and I just didn't like where it was going. So we're just going to go no notes, seat the pants. And the first thing that popped in my head was I want to talk about regulation tools. I want to talk about that because I have a feeling that not everybody knows that regulation tools are a completely unique thing. Yes. Are there universal regulation tools? Yes. Is there a breathing numbered exercise that'll immediately kind of calm you down? Or there's ice on the back of your neck will immediately calm you down? Distress tolerance skills, pretty universal. But what about your personal tools of regulation, right? Because I have a feeling when we get kind of like into spirituality and learning about energy awareness, and the universal laws, like laws of attraction, manifestation, things like that, I believe, because this is what happened to me when I found that realm, I started to compare what I was doing to this ultimate thing that I had put on a pedestal. This beautiful wrapped image present of like people meditating and doing yoga. And like, do they work? Yes. But here's the thing. What does that look like for you personally? Because like I meditate while I cook breakfast sometimes. I meditate just drinking a cup of tea. Mindfulness always induces some sort of meditation for me. And because I live a majorly solitary life, I do live with my partner, but I work from home, he's at work, and we both are kind of people that respect and value our alone time. I have time to introspect. I don't really have to carve it out of my day and like write it down. I just have to set the intention that like, hey, I need clarity on A, B, C, or I don't know. It's more of a flowing thing. And because of that, in the beginning of learning about these other tools, these specific tools linked to the spiritual community, I felt like I was doing stuff wrong. Like I wasn't like I wasn't doing what the tool was supposed to be there for. But then I realized I was already naturally doing the process. So what if some tools that are out there being hawked at you as, the next pill a day is something you already do, but it's labeled differently because it helps you authentically, and that's all that matters. But we see these other things. Like, does yoga make you feel good? Of course it does. It's physical movement and stretching. And you're working with tension and release and getting aware of your body, which is also body scan meditation, which can be done in stillness. And you become attention to your body. You're not moving your body. So, like, I believe these are universal tools labeled as such that could work for anybody, that are utilized for people who don't know where to start. But then it creates an even more of a divide because the person that doesn't even know where to start can't even get out of bed. This guy. Watching people doing yoga, meditating out in fields, being by creeks. I'm like, how are you doing that? How do you get from the bed to the creek? And I feel like upon learning that, I almost like put myself in another rut. Because if that's the answer, yoga, meditation, breath work, whatever, if those are the answers, what are the steps to get to the answer? Tell me I'm not the only one feeling like this. I don't anymore, but this was and I'm going to blow your mind at where I'm at now. I think maybe it'll resonate. But So what it did really was keep me codependent upon the next information to help get to the yoga, get to the meditation by the creek, get to those things. They didn't sound, I don't know how to explain it unless you've been there, but what depression and PTSD does to your brain, man, it is like scoffs at things like that. Because I can't even eat food, but you want me to like move and do shit. Haven't eaten for days, but I'm supposed to do movement and learn stretches and be motivated for Reiki and sound bowls, and which is beautiful. Those are beautiful techniques. Love them. I have come to love them. But when you're in the parasite hellhole and someone's like, have you tried yoga? I will throw myself out a window. And I feel like we're hurting people giving such blanketed advice. What is it you truly need? Grace, compassion, self-compassion, self-grace, compassion. Because how are you going to put the food in your body when you've already convinced yourself you don't deserve to live? So let's talk about that. That's what I want to talk about. It's very personal, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's gone through this. I'm sure other people have searched for answers online, especially during COVID, and people are like, touch some grass. I'm like, I'm rolling in the grass. I'm in the grass. Now what? And it becomes harmful. It does, because you stop seeking your needs. Because you believe and you become tethered to the needs that are taught to you. And they are not bad. But the stepping stones between hell and progress, I want those. And I found them. I've found them. And they're not what you think. They're not pretty. They're not wrapped in a bow. They're not me with a flat stomach and doing a freaking cobra pose, or I don't know. I stretch, but I don't really do yoga. I stretch because my body needs it. I pray because my soul needs it. I set intentions because my mind needs it. You see what I mean? Like, I do what I need. I treat the symptoms, not the sickness or the illness. I say illness because I'm thinking about the time when I got a really bad head cold and like a flu or something. And I asked my dad like something. I was like, what do we used to take when we were kids? That Mucinex stuff. And my dad was like, Mucinex, ibuprofen, this and that. And he gave me like 2 other remedies. And he was like, because you treat the symptoms, not the problem. Why did that blow my mind? But it's changed the trajectory of my life because I don't treat the problem anymore. Because there is no one size fits all for all problems. Even though I know the society likes to tell us that. I know the pharmacy likes to tell us that. I know that a lot of spiritual communities like to tell us that. But want to know why? Because there's money in a blanketed cure-all for all. It's sellable. It's replicatable. Right? Even in the peace, love, and light community. Right? Buy my yoga thing. Buy my masterclass. Buy the thing. But what? So then you buy the thing. You sign on for the prescription. You sign on for the online course or whatever. You sign on for these blanketed prescriptions, basically, and you still left feeling empty and unfulfilled because we're missing the steps that help us, because it's more than just the blanket. There's a connection. My mind doesn't know. It's showing me, but I don't know how to say this right now. words. There's like a connection that's missing. It's like you're showing somebody a countertop, but they're too small to get on it. And you're like, well, we've got a stepping stool. Where is it? Get it out. Show it to me. And that's because that stepping stool you have to build. And nobody can monetize that. Blanketly. You need a unique, specialized situation for that. And I feel like we don't know that. As people who are struggling, we don't know that. And we really just like eye on the prize, but we forget about our root. The root of everything. How's your diet? Did you eat protein today? Did you drink water today? Did you cut out caffeine? Did you do something fulfilling for yourself? Not for others, for yourself? And which is taught if you learn about like chakra healing, like it's in there, the steps 1 through 7. But then we jump right to like, okay, so I'm not going to eat good. I'm not going to sleep well. I'm going to include myself in a lot of activities that drain my energy and create anger, resentment, and sadness. And then I'm just going to go to Reiki or like sound bowl healing. And I'm just going to like slap a Band-Aid on it. I'm going to feel way better. And then I'm going to continue with self-destructive behaviors. And now I feel like, okay, now I'm just a little ranting. Because now I just feel like what we did was we traded in our old, shitty, unhealthy coping tools like drugs and alcohol. And we traded them in for singing bowls and Reiki therapy. Without doing the actual depth, the work that's going to keep us out from these self-destructive behaviors. Reiki, sound bowl, tuning, frequency healing stuff, all those practices are fine-tuning. They're maintenance. It's maintenance. You got something stuck, it's maintenance. But if you're not eating protein, eating like I keep going back to food because that was like my issue. Like if I skip a meal, this thing goes to very dark places. Like immediately. And before self-awareness, we would just be like, wow, this is who I am. But it's not. I just didn't eat. But I'm already spiraling into worthlessness, lack of value. Parasitic voice is already taken over. You know? And that's from missing a meal. You got to get authentic. So what are those steps then that are going to get you to actually rolling out the yoga mat? Because I am all for yoga teachers, Reiki practitioners, sound healing practitioners. I don't know everybody, but like I'm all for it. Those practices save lives. They really do. But not to all. Not to all who are in the pits of hell. Because a lot of these practices are including your faith, trust, and hope. Right? Like, if you don't believe in it, it's not going to do anything for you. But when you're in the depths of hell, personally, I didn't believe in anything. I had zero belief. Like, didn't even think food could help, water could help, nothing. Like, I'm consumed by flames. And it's just crazy to think that 75% of that could have been toned down if I slept well, ate well. Well, sleeping well was tough for me at the time because the PTSD nightmares were like insane. it was like closing your eyes, but then just waking up again, like I was awake, in the dreams. So, and it very realistic and mimicked my traumas. It only was very recent, only like a year or two ago, that I don't have those dreams anymore. It's really nice. But that took years of changing my lifestyle so that I can let go of these memories. I can let go of these fears. And the lifestyle needed to be changed. I needed to eat better. I needed to take care of myself. I need to go on more walks. I need to drink more water. I need to go to the eye doctor regularly. I need a support system. I need so many needs. There's so many needs. And it's now having the needs that, yes, let's do yoga. Yes, I'll go to a yoga class. Yes, I'll do Zumba. I do Zumba on YouTube sometimes. It's hard, but yeah, because I know, even if I don't have the will, I know it's going to save me because I have the faith, I have the trust. I built myself back up, so I now trust that these tools work. So the beforehand, it looks a lot like just following the joy. And how do you find joy when you're engulfed in flames in the pit of hell? You create it. You create it. That means it's not something you can obtain. It's not something you can buy from your neighbor. It's not something that someone else is going to create. You literally have to create it yourself out of the materials supplied to you in hell. That means switching your perspective on what hell is. Now, you need to see hell as an opportunity to create. We're here. All the fun tools that help you maintain and regulate are here. How you gonna reach them? You create out of the materials of hell. So, what does that mean? What you got? What you got? What do you got around you? Let's go. Let's do it. I found myself having a lot of rough stones. Started carving them, shaping them, and then creating these. Not intentioned for a business. That is what became of it, and I'm very blessed and grateful for that. However, what's right in front of you? What can you make better right now? Because if you don't have trust and faith in yourself, find trust and faith in your hands, what these things can do. Not for someone else, though. You're not going to find the healing you're looking for through a work or job or even volunteering. Not at this stage. That's up here stage. There's layers to the circle of hell, I'm sure we've heard Dante's Inferno. So there are layers. There are different, I know if I'm starting to decline and I'm here, I know what to do to get back here. But then if I decline and I miss that tool there because I let my ego get a little high and I'm like, no, we don't need that, and I drop, that tool isn't going to work down here in the second layer of hell. And if you miss that one because you haven't practiced second layer of hell tools in a while, you will sink lower and lower and lower. And you'll have to then build back up from the bottom to get out of those rings of hell. Create from what you got. Literally, I don't know how else to explain that. Go out in your yard and start ripping at weeds. Start destroying stuff, Find purpose with your paws. Paw purpose. Because then you're not here and you're not even here. Because when you're in here in the circle of hell, this is gone. This is gone, and this belongs to the parasite. So you don't feel, you don't think, you're not anything right now. So just paw purpose. Paw purpose. What can I do with the paws? And I just realized I have very strong hands, and I think that's the just made this full circle. I have like the strongest hands that I've ever met. Because I'm also the saddest person I've ever met. I know there's other sad people out there. I'm just saying, like, there's a correlation. Because, like, Paw Purpose gets you out of your head and out of here and into the creation. And now you're watching something go from this to this. And at first, you give the credit to the stone or the creation, and you're like, wow, look at your capability. Look what you're capable of becoming. And then it clicks in here about self. Look at you, and look at what you're capable of doing. And then all of a sudden, that's like an ice pick at the cement hardened around the heart, starts to break a little bit. And when you get just an inkling of softness and feeling back, yes, tears, cry, right. But that is the breakthrough, because now you want the rope to get out of hell, because you now know what it's like to feel again and to believe in yourself, even if it's just a rock polished. So now you want the rope. Now you want to reach sound healing, Reiki, practices, yoga. Now you want to try this stuff. Now you want to go sit in the grass. But then, so you get the rope, you're climbing up, you start doing these things. You're like, this is sick, awesome. But then these open the door to make you realize your authentic nature is surpassing that. It's, yeah, great. These are great. But you might find you're a hiker. Now you're a hiker. Now you're out in the woods more. Now you're doing that because the frequency healing or the tools that you learned in your spirituality classes or whatever, like, has inspired you. It's inspired you to get back out into nature. At first you did it because it was a tool that someone taught. And then you realize, now I'm out here barefoot in grass. I also realized that my mind's eye just showed me running through the woods barefoot, leaping and bounding over logs and stumps. Don't stop. Go there. That's the next evolutionary stage. And if you find you no longer cling to your older techniques of singing bowl or sound healing, personally, I clung to the sound healing heavy to get me from, I went from pit of hell, used the rocks to bust open that heart a little bit, got to the next layer. The next layer tool, it was music, singing bowls, tongue drums, and I would do, and I knew that sharing that journey would motivate me to do it every morning, which is what I needed. So I made a thing. I called it Sound and Ground, and I did a live on Facebook every day of me starting the day singing bowl and tongue drumming. Meanwhile, still with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. And I almost hid that from people because I was like, how am I going to say I believe in the community and these tools if I'm doing it wrong? It's not about the community. It's not about looking like another spiritual person or another person going through the healing journey. It's about you. Don't you want to get out of hell? So it doesn't matter. So when I finally pushed all that aside and was just like, I just don't give a shit. I just don't want to live in hell anymore. I started mutating and combining all of these practices and adding my own flair to certain things and playing. And what does play do? Playtime retrains your brain faster than consistency. Consistency is what it is. Repetition is what creates a new neural pathway. When you do it through play, you don't have to repeat it thousands of times. It's learned way faster. The neural pathways created way faster, and it becomes a new state of being way quicker and more solid than just repetition alone. Play, right? But how do you conceptualize play when you're engulfed in Dante's Inferno, right? You can't. It's so hard. So once I abolished that separation, because there is no really separation of things. You can blend and mold and mix and create, it's fine. Yeah. Once I started doing that, I realized that the healing journey doesn't have a prescription. It doesn't. Yeah, there's tools for your tool belt that are universal. There are. And they will help. But that's once again a tool to a man or a woman. A construction worker can't use a hammer correctly if he really wants to turn that hammer on himself or other people. Do you see where I'm going with this? You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't have a belief in self, if you don't have that little tiny crack in the cement of your heart to get you to find that rope of hope again, you can't be trusted with these tools. In a way, they're not going to help really. Cause I dinged those singing bowls and played that tongue drum every day for almost a year, and I still was a methamphetamine addict and a cigarette smoker. And I was waiting for sound healing to get rid of that. I was waiting for sound healing to help me sleep better and not wake up screaming at night. I was waiting for the singing bowl to take away my pain and my fear and my lack of hope. And that just put a pause button on empowerment, on personal empowerment that I didn't know I was capable of having without codependency with these cure-all universal tools. And that's the thing. Some people are in the first layer of hell. Trust me, we all know hell. We've been there. But there are layers. And I fluctuate back and forth with depression. And I'm very blessed to only hit layer 1 nowadays. Because layer 1, sound healing does work for. Baking cookies does help. Getting outside and touching grass does help. But when you surpass into the lower rings and the lower levels, you need different tools. Now I'm seeing from when I first started talking about this, I'm seeing, because I didn't prep this. I'm letting myself just kind of flow. And I'm realizing now that is the difference between the huge gap. There's layers of hell. And the cure-all fixes only really drag you out of maybe layer 1, layer 2, maybe layer 3. But layer 4, layer 5, layer 7? I will huck a singing bowl at you. It's tough because we all know pain. I will not negate or take that away from anyone. We are all sufferers. And I'm sorry that we all are. But we do also need to accept and acknowledge there are layers to hell. There are. And we need to have a wee bit more compassion to our fellow man. Because we just assume well, I went to a yoga class and it brought me out of my level of hell, and that's what you need. And unsolicited advice is starting to kill our society. It's hurtful. I can't tell you how hurt I've been and how much I've had to just suck it up and just let them talk when people try to give you I didn't ask. I'm fine. I'm not fine, but I know how to make me fine. And when people start throwing around things like, oh, you need healing with that. Yeah, no effing duh, Karen. I'm well aware, but we don't need your input about it, unsolicited. This is the layers of hell I'm talking about. there's a difference between going hungry and choosing not to eat because you don't like the source of the food. We need to recognize that not everybody in America has lived a privileged life of an American. I've been not able to afford my groceries. I'm finally at a place in my life, the last 5 years, of thriving. But we're technically in a recession, but I don't know the difference. Because I just feel like I'm doing great. And I guess I'm getting like personal about this because I need to talk about it more. Because the more I talk about it, the more other level 7 hell dwellers pop out and they're like, yo, I've been waiting to know that I'm not the only one that constantly still feels on the outside of a group, even though I love the group and the group loves me. Right. There's so many symptoms that come from escaping the lower, darkest depths of hell. And it's personal. It's just like, and it's almost makes me nervous sometimes to like unbridledly start, assimilating to letting people close to me. Strangers and acquaintances, no big, because there's a decorum. There's like a rule book of conversation, so like it's safe. But like once you start letting people close to you, they start saying shit like that. Well, have you tried yoga? Maybe you know how disvalidating that is? Yes, I've tried yoga. Yes, I've done all of the things. Yes, but the only thing that's going to get me out of it right now is Sherpa hoodie, sitting on the floor, watching my favorite horror movie over and over, or my favorite battle movie like Patriot or Braveheart, watching other people overcome, drinking chamomile, creating some shit that reminds me that I'm purposeful and also one of transformation. If I can do it with my Paw Purpose, then that Paw Purpose means it's my purpose. And then, now I'm thinking of me again. And when you let people close, they not all the time. I'm telling you, there's good people out there. I've found some. But the people I've found in my past, well, why don't we just go on a hike? Like, that would be so much better for you. I don't need to hear that right now, Karen. The hike would be great if I was only in level 1 or level 2 or level 3 even. But I'm in level 7. The only thing that's helping me right now is what I'm doing. Don't try to make me feel some type of way shameful about how I get out of the lowest layer of hell. Whew. So I closed off. I don't need people. I don't need more people reminding me that there's some sparkly, magical fairy dust realm of possibilities that I could be frolicking in. I know that is so unattainable for me right now. And I forgot that for a while because for the last year, except for Scorpio season, I always kind of whatever. But for the last year, we have been doing well. Not this every day. And it's because of the routines and the structures and the needs. My friend called them non-negotiables. Loved that. Non-negotiable needs, bro. And I've been sucking them up. I don't even think about them anymore. They're just my needs and that's what I do. But then a day comes where you skip one of those needs. You think you're doing so good that you forget. You forget that the only reason you're not sitting in the depths of hell is because of this constant work and effort. and this constant self-care. No, you can't skip the thing. You can't. If that's what your nervous system needs to regulate, you need to make time for that. And I believe I was gifted, I was blessed yesterday with being put into about layer 3 of hell. We almost moved into layer 4. We started to have some idle thoughts, which is insane because I love my life. But when you have a diagnosis, when your brain is rewired differently now, and you have neurotransmitter issues, it doesn't matter how great your life is. It doesn't matter. My friend recently took his life, and his life looked so beautiful that I stopped worrying about him. Everything was going so well. So I just figured, because I forgot how easy it can be to go from that to the blinders. And you forget it all because your brain is so traumatized. It's so hurt from so many years of hurt and pain. And that's when you need those lower level, those beginning self-cares, those beginning tools that only are going to help you. They might not help another person, like me polishing the rocks. That might not be your paw purpose. Maybe your paw purpose is making candles or crocheting or cooking or baking or whatever it is. Maybe it's even going outside and just picking weeds and making little bouquets out of the weed flowers. Like, paw purpose. And I was blessed yesterday to have that reminder. I was in tears all day. No matter how many up here things I did, I baked cookies, I stretched, I showered, a lot of things. But what I didn't do was I messed up in the beginning, and it set me down to the level 3, and I forgot about the levels, and I tried to do level 1 things to bring me out. And every time I accomplished a goal or accomplished a tool that would have helped me out of the level 1 of hell, and it didn't help me out of level 3 of hell, I was in tears. My cookies came out perfect, and I was in tears. Right. And then at that point, I set myself up for success unbeknowing, because it's now ingrained. You just do what you need. And it did end up helping having the cookies be already baked, because then when I started to feel better, I rewarded myself with the cookie, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm cool, I'm great, everything's fine. And I'm not going to lie to you, I also intentionally used marijuana to help me from the idle thoughts. Because when we start dipping into 4-5 layer, I personally cannot afford that anymore. It gets dangerous for me, and I'm not going to do that. So I set up my environment without the marijuana because it's important that you know your tools. You need to know tools. We cannot become codependent on substances. They are also tools. So I had to do certain things to put me in a good spot to then when I finally smoked, I then was able to recognize my accomplishments. I also was able to then immediately transmute the idle thoughts into thoughts of like, I needed this reminder. I needed to be reminded that it doesn't matter how beautiful your life is. It's those non-negotiables that need to be checked off every single day. I needed that reminder. Why? I don't know. There's definitely something coming that I needed that reminder for. I got an inkling that it might happen. It's funny because I talked about something like this in the last week's episode. I was saying something about not skipping those needs. And I did it. Just one. Because my thought was, because I went like this, because this is ego. Ready? I said, I'm not going to let anxiety win. And I'm going to do what I want and not what the anxiety is telling me what to do. Bro, how toxic can you be? You're literally freaking out right now. Maybe you should give your body what it's asking for. Your mind, body, and spirit what it's asking for. That's my ego. My ego got too big and God put me down in a good way. I always pray for humbling because through my humbling, I'm able to help others. When you have an ego like that, we're not going to let anxiety win. That's not helping anybody. I proved it to myself. It didn't help me at all. The way the parasite weaseled into my brain yesterday was insane. And how quickly and how damaging that was. Dropped me from layer. Boom, 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 boom. That's terrifying. Non-negotiables, friends. Water, non-negotiable. And like I said before, we're all in different levels. So someone who's at level 3, level 2, level 1, maybe you can skip a meal. Maybe you can go a little bit without water and not drop to level 7. More power to you. I dance on a slippery slope, apparently. There's some of us that need to cling to these things. And like Parasite Voice tried to tell me yesterday, wow, look how unadaptable you are. Look how you can't do anything that's out of schedule. First of all, that's not even what happened. I'm adaptable. I'm an evolutionary human. Like, chill out. These are basic needs that I think everybody should do. But when someone else skips a meal, they might just get a little cranky. Maybe they'll call it hangry, and they'll all have a good laugh. Oh, Karen's getting hangry. We gotta get her to Red Robin. For me, I'm like already, boom. I'm like, we gotta do something bad to self. And that's what I mean. Like, the journey is so uniquely curtailed to every person. Like, I couldn't skip a meal and do yoga or do a singing bowl thing and be okay. So my non-negotiables are my meals, right? I mean, there's a bunch, but I'm just using that because that was like a big one for me yesterday. But like, it's that, it's not listening and honoring my nervous system when I try to be like, I'm better than my nervous system. What the hell is that? You were given extra sensitivities for a reason. Listen to them. You're the next evolution of human. Like, it's not a bad thing. Some of us, I think that we are gifted with these lives, these hardships that create us into these sensitive beings. And I believe it does actually help us with manifestation and law of attraction. And I think it does help us become better humans for the evolutionary rate of where we're heading. I don't know where we're heading, but apparently we need to be soft and gosh darn sensitive and highly self-aware and able to use everything within ourselves to balance and regulate and to listen to all of those small messages, big messages. Every little flag that goes off in our system is important. It's important for fine-tuning, because when you become fine-tuned, you're in tune and you can attract. But how do you know you even need attunement if you're not sensitive enough to feel when you're out of tune? Like if I sing this note, in tune, I can hear it. I can't hear my personal energy vibration. What if it's, right? You can't hear that. But that's the difference. There's the two, and you feel it. You feel that. It's not heard, but it's felt. And it's heard in the mind with what that parasite's trying to tell you about yourself. That you're out of tune, bro. So I'm not knocking any spiritual practice. I'm telling you 100% they help. These are great tools. But I'm just asking you not to limit your sight on what a tool can be. Because what if your personal tool is the next evolutionary tool, like we talked about weeks ago with the 100th monkey effect? What if your tool starts a wave of change for people tool less with when these tools weren't fitting with them? Like, what if what you come up with can change 1,000 people's lives? What if what you come up with can only just change one life, and that's yours? Isn't that enough? So get weird. Let it get weird. Yeah, I've got lots of crystals all over my house. I even have this out. Sometimes clients will play with it and I'll be like, oh, they picked up this stone, and I tell them the properties, and that can help them find some sort of empowerment because it resonates with them. Or, or they're drawn to another stone that shows them shadow work that needs to be done. Does that mean I'm a crystal healer? No. Please don't call me that. It's just because that's the relationship I have with my tool that helps me find my paw purpose helped me find my purpose. And my purpose isn't the stones. They're a tool. My purpose is me. Filling me, teaching me, fine-tuning me. Because does that not echo onto everyone?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Don't listen to her. Yeah, that's right. You don't. Our purpose is not outside of us. It may become that way over time. You gain enough traction in your self-care, you start to overflow, and then you're volunteering, You're going on benefit walks. You're helping the community, right? But that's not your purpose. That's what you do with your purpose. But your purpose is to keep you alive, happy, fulfilled, high vibing, fed, sheltered, clothed, safe. That's your main purpose. Because with you at your highest potential, you don't even have to try. And you help others heal by doing your craft. Let's say you write a song to help you heal, right? You write a song, you sing that song, you record that song, you put that song on Spotify. And then someone else across the world listens to that song, and you literally spoke of a pain they're currently experiencing and they thought they were utterly alone in. You might never meet that person. You might never know that your music helped them not idle themselves. You might not know that, but it doesn't matter because your purpose is already fulfilled because you wrote that song. The echo effect is the gift of your pain. It's not your purpose, though. You got enough right here. This is your purpose. This beautiful creature right in front of you. Is that the happiest it can be? Is that the best it can be right now? Because that's your purpose. And then, yeah, once you're shining, go ahead. Get out there if you want. Get in the community. But just get your paw purpose going. Because your paw purpose is going to remind you you're worth living. You're worth thriving. You're worth it. You're worth it. Because, and we forget. Because there's so much other shit to compare our progress and our success to. or we try to put the Band-Aid on we try to bring a singing bowl down into the 7th layer of hell, and we're just like, that's gonna take away the screaming nightmares, right? You know, and then that's when we lose the hope again. Don't bring stuff into hell. Create with what you got, you know? What's right around you. You don't need to buy the next thing. You don't need to just... Yeah, it's tough. I feel like a lot of us know this, but we don't talk about it. Those steps. And I feel like it's also because those steps look a lot like telling yourself, it's okay you called out of work today because you're feeling not okay. It's okay. What we're going to do, though, is focus on what you need to make this feel better. And just, I pet my face a lot. And I talk to myself, it's okay. It's fine. You didn't mess up. You didn't lose a day. You got plenty others. You got 365 more. It's okay. And that's not a magical cure-all. That's hard to... There's only a few people that are really going to resonate with that and need that tool, you know? So it's not mass marketed. You hear it a lot, self-compassion and grace, giving yourself grace. But that means also talking yourself through it. Starting even a self-hug. Cozy outfit. And that's hard to market. Hey Lex, I feel like I'm super overstimulated and it's triggering my anxiety, which in turn is triggering my anger, and then I flip out, I break something, I yell at the person I love, and then I break down and my depression's even worse. What do? Cut all the tags out of your clothes. What else overstimulated you? Oh, the lights. Change all the light bulbs. Don't wear an underwire bra. You know what I'm saying? And no one, it's like only people that have struggled with that will hear what I'm saying and be like, that's mind blowing. I gotta go do that. Because we don't realize it. But then there are people out there that they couldn't think twice about the tags in their clothes. But your subconscious is driving you deeper into the pits of hell. You already were on the spiral down. You were already on the elevator down. Not even the escalator. You were just dropping floors. And the stop button could be cutting all the tags out of your clothes. That could be just enough time. Because here's the thing. When I'm doing that, and then I'm itchy, express lane me to the devil's dinner table. Why don't you? Just sign me on as a demon at this point. And I feel like my boyfriend's great. But he'll look at me he gets it because he watches me go through it. But yeah, not everybody's gonna get that. But that's okay. It's your journey, homie. It's yours. And you need to stop the escalator down. Now, for me, it's also, that's why we don't have any alcohol in this house. We're not smoking cigarettes either. We're not doing things like that because that'll also trigger the guilt and shame. And then the express lane elevator, you might as well just bring me right to China. Through the earth. We're not even in hell anymore. I'm just popped out the other side of the world. Hey. So I cut those things out. But what are yours? What do you think could save you from that drastic drop into the devil's dinner table, you know? And it's funny because and this is where the it's a very fine line between feeling empowered because of your tools, empowered, and feeling powerless because of all of your tools and all of your needs, your non-negotiables. But what I learned yesterday is I'd rather have all the tags cut out of my shirts. And if that made me feel crazy for a day, who cares? Because I needed it. I don't wear any bras with underwire, like anything tight and restricting. No. There are some days I can get away with that. But to maintain this, the majority of my days need to be that ultimate comfy. Which is hard because you also want to look cute as a girl. But that's another thing. Powerless or empowered. Because I could take that and become very empowered with that. And seek comfort stylish clothes. And that could become a niche. And then I could even market that. And I could become the anxiety, depression, PTSD, don't drop to the bottom level of devil's dinner table hell with these 5 simple tricks with your outfit. Right? I just thought of that, but that's a thing. And then a grouping of people would resonate with that. And they would also need that. And that could become an empowerment. It could become a thing. The Paw Purpose. Cutting out those tags. That's step 1, because you can't use this and you can't use this if it's all locked out. So, get your Paw Purpose. Get to your nitty gritty. Get to your reality. What's going to help make me feel better and not descend any further. What stinks is when I get little rashy bumps. So I am actually itchy. Like rashes, if you can't see that, a little dot will pop up like that, and it'll be the most excruciatingly itchy thing I've ever felt itching me in my life. So then I'll feel very aware of that. So I'm itching that. And I'm trying not to let the anxiety get at me. So I'm focusing on the itching because I'm like, okay, now I'm out of my head and I'm into the itching. But that's the wrong way to use your Paw Purpose. Because now you feel weak and vulnerable because you look like an idiot. You look like you're crazy. You're scratching. You start to feel crazy. And then you embody that oh my God, I'm so anxious. I feel it because I am it. And I'm doing the things that are the anxious. I forgot about my Paw Purpose yesterday. I itched the crap out of my hand. And it did sink me further. So yeah, what do you got? So, body butter. That's another thing I invented for myself that I now sell. Start with self. Start with your Paw Purpose. Literally, what do these paws need? Butter. But, yeah. Your non-negotiables, man. There are non-negotiables for all of us. Even if you don't know it. Because I don't know. I don't hang out. I've never met anyone that doesn't struggle. We all struggle. So if this doesn't resonate with you, more power to you. I'd love to have a conversation with somebody who feels great all the time. That would be a cool conversation just to get perspective. But if you're resonating with what I'm saying, man, yeah. I'm pretty sure all of us have non-negotiables in our life. And that's where our boundaries come into play for sure too, right? But that's another story. We'll get into that. But yeah, there's non-negotiables in our lives. But not just non-negotiable with other people and what you're allowing that's number 2. That's chakra number 2. We're still in number 1. I'm talking food, water, body movement, safety, security, grounding, doesn't. So when it comes to number 1, when you're alone, those are non-negotiable because you don't freaking even think about what's non-negotiable inside of an interpersonal relationship when you don't even have an interpersonal relationship with yourself from number 1. So, because yeah, relationships are better when you have some non-negotiable in your root chakra. Yeah. And we have to change our perspective on, we have to stop labeling things as good or bad and just stick with the facts. Like mindfulness, we talk about that. Every video we've had so far, we talk about this. So just go watch the other ones and you'll get mindfulness. Because there's a part of mindfulness that says non-judgment, observe non-judgmentally. Stick to the facts. Because that's going to help when your brain's trying to tell you a bunch of lies because you skipped one of your non-negotiables. Yeah. Like I said, everything happens for a reason too. Like me crashing like I did yesterday and sinking right into like old patterns of self-deprecation after missing a non-negotiable and then kind of like just like snowballing into worse non-negotiable things. Yeah. That was a blessing because I needed to remember that. I am not a super person. I am not a superhero. I am not invincible. I am vulnerable. I do need to stick with my tools and my structures. And also, I need to have the right perspective about these tools because the parasite will try and tell you you're bad or it'll label it as bad, you needing all the tools and the non-negotiables because it wants you to self-sabotage. When you self-sabotage, you get closer to the devil. He can only whisper. He can't sabotage for you. That's your choice of free will. And that's hard. That's hard when you're feeling a little attacked at the will. So, remember that though. Feel a little lost today. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. My brain's super fried. But yeah, we need to remember that these tools are necessary for our evolutionary development as a society as well. So maybe some of us were blessed with hardships in life so that we can learn these tools. For us, they are necessary needs that are non-negotiable, that need to happen every day. But because we live these tools, we can teach them to the person who maybe only needs to hit up that once a week class at yoga or singing bowl thing. And like, that's awesome. I want that for all of humanity, to be able to do what they need to do, refresh, have that schedule, have that routine. That's great. You don't have to do it every day, or you don't have but some of us, if you're feeling negative about the amount of self-care you personally need, I would like for you to challenge yourself to start thinking like that. That you need to be practicing these tools every day so that it becomes your nature, your authentic nature. Because then when it's your authentic nature, you don't have to go out of your way to teach it or find people to teach. If you wanted to become someone who did that, they will find you. Or even if you don't want to help people, it's just going to end up what happens because you live it. So when they experience it, you're already there. You're strapped. You're important. Like you have a purpose. And that purpose is to help make yourself feel the best you can and live in this world, this really hard, challenging, scary world. Master it. That's your only purpose. Because then it bleeds on into other things that you can find purpose out of. But that does not mean it is who you are as your purpose of why you're here living on this earth. Your purpose is you. You are the biggest craft project you will ever have. And make it fun. Make it playful. Play. You will always be fine-tuning and working on yourself. And that will inspire the collective to work on themselves. So don't stop. And it will become very easy to start seeing the echoes of change, even though you're not stepping out of your comfort zone to do so. You're just doing what you need, and it's inspiring and motivating others. Isn't that great? You don't have to try hard to change the world. Just take care of yourself. Because you're a beautiful, bright, unconditionally loving soul. That's who you are. Now just uncover what's covering that up. Chip away the cement around your heart with small things like Paw Purpose. What can your hands do today? Get out of here. Get out of here. Sometimes you just get out of your body. Just get out. Get out of there and get in here. I'm proud of how strong these hands are. The rest of my body, though, oh, it's so squishy. We're working on that. My friends and I are doing rock climbing, and we're trying to do that more often, and that Zumba, and go for walks, because I am very squish. But these things, oh, I've never had such strong hands. This is insane. But it goes to show you how much Paw Purpose really helps and really works. It really does. Even when I was rolling those cookies yesterday, the dough I made, and I'm just... But then it gave me a break from the crying when I rolled. Because right when I started rolling, I was with the dough. And I got a little OCD with it. I was like, does everybody have the same amount of chocolate chips? Like, we don't need to be thinking like that. But that's what Paw Purpose does. It helps you get out of there and into a solvable problem. Because, like, that's when you get your reward, your dopamine reward. And you can start changing the story, the script. I do want to talk about, I'm out of time because I wouldn't listen or watch a video this long, so I'm not going to make you guys do it. But I want to talk about next episode about weed, marijuana, and the uses of marijuana for depression, PTSD, and anxiety. I really want to talk about that because when used with intention, it's scientifically, we have cannabinoid receptors and things, and like it really is helpful. But if you overdo it, you shut those receptors down and you don't get the medicinal benefit from marijuana. And that's why even on the good days when I am feeling good, I still have a very strict self-discipline when it comes to when I smoke weed. Because I can't be just high all the time, because then when I need it for a medicine, it's not going to help. So, right, tools. And they're all going to look different for everybody. So I want to talk about that next time. Because I want to get into how we can heal with it instead of covering up our healing with it and it becoming a self-sabotaging technique. I'm going to go in on this. I feel I can't even tell you guys, like, the things I was thinking yesterday were so toxic. So self-deprecating and self-sabotaging. Like, the devil was like this in the 7th layer of hell with his arms open, watching me fall. He was like, yes! Come back into my grips! I'm so excited! And I was like, no. I see where this is going. Alright guys, have a great day. I would love to elaborate on this more. My brain's fry pants. So whoever just watch me out, watch this, and let's get the comments going. I want to talk about non-negotiables. That's written down. I want to talk about the medicinal properties of marijuana and elaborate on whatever I might have sounded confusing on today. So thank you guys. Let's do this. Have a great one.